My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father won't spite you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she moved through the fair, and fondly I watched her go here and go there, and she went her way homeward with one star away, as the swan in the evening moved over the lake.
Get out of my way!
You're always so angry.
Caledonia, get back here.
Hello, I think I'm live, but you never know. Did somebody tell me if they could see me and if they can hear me? You can see me and hear me. Good, thank you for that, Pints World. Let me just put you up on the screen, see if you can pop up on the screen. There we go. So I think it's all working to plan tonight. Right. Good evening, Jason. Good evening, William. Good evening, Jim. Thanks, Mike Reed. Thanks, Lynn. We're all doing all right. Okay. Pints World. Aye, excellent stuff. So, Christian, how you doing? All good this week. Do you know something? That minute and a half before I go live on a Sunday is the most nervous time of the week for me. Not because I'm particularly nervous about talking here, but I'm nervous about whether I'm actually going to be live or not, especially after last week's debacle. Anyway, what nice guy Frankie, thanks for the sub. What I thought I'd do this week is have a little talk about my initial thoughts on the Mini 3 Pro. Of course I'll get Lassie here, don't worry about that. But I thought I'd have a little chat about it just to give you my initial thoughts on it, and then do some Q&A. Just let me turn off my other screen. It's really disconcerting when I see myself 10 seconds behind myself. And then I'd have a Q&A, because I'm sure quite a few of you will have questions about the Mini 3 Pro. And I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Please accept my apologies in advance for anyone that I miss in their questions. I'm trying my best to get as many questions in as I can, but I'll miss some. Okay, so a few more hellos. Barry, hello. John, hello. WinVision Ariel, hit that thumbs up. Aye, excellent. Hit that thumbs up. Cheers. Right, here's Jim. Jim going to start us off. Jim says that he agrees with my thoughts on the screen below the controls. Right, I don't know if you have watched the video, the very first flight of Caledonia, where I took out the RC control for the first time. And here's another thing as well. These I don't know if you want to see that or not. These sticks are very different. They fit over the top. Where am I going? Where am I going? Right, they fit over the top here instead of inside, which is really quite strange. It's not like any of my other, like it's not like Lassie, the RC N1 controller or the DJI FPV controller. So that's a bit strange. And the other thing is that in the pack, for those of you that already have this, you'll know, but for those of you that don't have the pack, you don't get a spare set of sticks. You don't even get one spare stick in the pack, which is, you get a spare set with the DJI Mini 2 Fly Mode pack and with the DJI FPV Fly Mode pack, and I'm pretty sure you would with Air 2S. If I'm wrong, you can, in the Mavic 3, if I'm wrong, you can correct me. But for some reason, they haven't issued it, given you a spare. So you have to be really careful with those. Right, Jim just brought that up. He agrees with me. I'm going to try and show you here. It's going to be difficult, but when your thumbs, can you see that? When your thumbs are actually on there, you are covering, like I suspected, you're covering the screen. Now you can jiggle about and move your, change the position that you would normally fly in to alleviate that, but you're still, even with your thumbs on it naturally, you're still covering part of the screen. I suspected that would happen, and it has happened. Not good at all. Now, if they had made, see if they had just made if they just made the RC controller like that, how much better would that have been? You know, that would have been perfect. Of course, I'm not a DJI engineer, what do I know? Right, the other thing, I did say in my first video, if you watched it, that when I was holding my iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is 850 nits, Pints World, thanks very much for the super chat, really appreciate that. I said that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is 850 nits, and this is 700 nits, and I did say that this one did look a bit brighter, and it does look a tiny bit brighter. But do you know something? Brightness is not important. Brightness doesn't matter. Pints World, thanks very much for the super chat. Brightness doesn't matter because it's about sun glare. It's about the glare on the screen. Now, it doesn't matter how bright this is. If the sun is glaring on it and it's a shiny, a glossy screen, it's not matte, it's difficult to see, very, very difficult to see. And even though it was slightly brighter, maybe it was an optical illusion, I don't know, but it seemed to be slightly brighter than my iPhone, which I can't show you because I'm using it to film this. The sun, when the sun shone on them, the glare was enough that I could hardly see. The drone mask is the way to go, absolutely. And I would recommend anyone, if you're about to buy this or you're still thinking about buying it, don't go for the RC. Don't go for it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, about the other things that are in it, that other creators have said. It's wonderful and fantastic, and oh, you have to get it. No, you don't. Don't get it. Stick with the... I'll just grab it if I can find it. Stick with the RCN1 if you have a DJI Mini 2 already, and just get the Mini Pro on its own. I did a test and I put the video up today. I don't know if you've all seen it yet, but I tested it was the arrange signal test again. I tested this, and I tested this, and I tested this. And this combination here was much better than this combination. Okay? I don't care about that screen. I'm telling you now, it's not worth the extra. That's my opinion. But take that with a pinch of salt, because I've only been out and done 3 tests. One I've still to edit and publish. So I've only done 3 tests yet, so that I may change my mind. But at the moment, I'm not impressed with it. And the other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, if you watched the video today with the 3 screens, that the RC screen did not look good. Now, it looks okay when you're looking at it. For some reason, the screen recording looks fuzzy and horrible and it didn't look nice on the screen, and I don't like that at all. I like my videos to be crisp and clear as much as I can, so that's quite annoying to me. So that's my initial thoughts. I'll have a look at some of your questions, some of your comments here to see what you guys have thought about that. Ed says, I thought it would shield the screen from sunlight. I don't know. I thought it would shield the screen from sunlight. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. You get a glare. It's a glossy screen. Look at that. Look how shiny it is. It's really glossy, really reflective. So as soon as the sun is out, it's gone. If it was a matte screen, maybe that would have made a difference. Okay. Jim, up again. Make an extendable hand rest on controller if reversed. Can't. Sorry, Jim. I don't know what that means. John Gibson says, I'm waiting on the drone with no controller. Mark, thanks very much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Mighty Enid, controls at the bottom would be really uncomfy, would it? You think so? Oh no, I don't. I like that. I like that. It's more like it would be more like the. Not doing very well here, am I? It'd be more like the RCN1, I think. I would prefer that because it means that your thumbs wouldn't cover the screen. So anyway, I think they could have done that. It would have made more sense to me. Okay, what else we got here? Right, Jason, you've got the drone mask on its way. I hope you bought it with my link. Because if you do buy a drone mask and you buy it with my link, I get a tiny wee kickback on it. So if you did, thanks very much. And if you didn't, naughty boy. You'll enjoy it, honestly, especially because the summer's coming. You'll really notice the difference when your screen is in the drone mask. There's no light comes in whatsoever, and it's crystal clear, and it doesn't heat up either. That's the other thing. Inside there, it's not like a fridge or a freezer, but it doesn't heat up because the sun's not shining on it. So absolutely, the drone mask is the way to go. That's my opinion. That's all. Mighty, I have no bother on my screen so far, but Manchester weather, it isn't that glary. Yeah, and take it out on a day when it's sunny. Even if you're not flying, just take it out and turn it on and have a look, and you'll think, oh, wait a minute, I can't really see that. You can see it as well as you can an iPhone or an Android phone, but you should be able to see it a lot better for the price, shouldn't you? That's what I think anyway. Peter, you're 7 minutes late. What have you been doing? Were you having a wee nap? Were you having a wee sleep, mate? Were you making yourself a coffee and just thought you'd take your time and put in an extra couple of sugars? Get here in time next week, okay? Right, so evening. Right. Zigzag, your message has come up as one of those I can show or hide. I don't know why it's asking me not to, so I'll show it. There you go. I don't even know what it means. But goggles, drone mask, thumbs up. I get it. Yes, I agree. Right, Kevin says that I just want to go for the package, which is the Mini 3 Pro only. Absolutely, Kevin. You're already on the Mini 2. It's not available yet in South Africa. Everything was released last year. Sorry about that. Sorry that you're going to have to wait. But I think that's the best way to go. If you've already got the Mini 2 and you already have the RCN1, that's fine. Here's a wee thing I want to talk about, though. This is causing me... I don't quite know what to do about this, and maybe you can advise me. You can connect this to the Mini 2 and fly it around, and then you can connect it up to the Mini Pro, but you have to install new firmware. So make sure you've downloaded the firmware at a Wi-Fi spot first before you go out. So you have to install the firmware, and it takes about a minute. And then you get the message saying that you can only bind the controller to one aircraft, and it'll allow you to do this 5 times. And then it says it's going to lock one to the controller. So I'm a little bit worried because after I flew this, and then I flew that, and I had to download the software, and I got that message, and then I reconnected this one, the Mini 2, and I had to download the firmware for this again, and that left me with sort of 4 more swaps. Now I don't want to lock it to either of these. I want to have it so that I can use it interchangeably. So I tried messaging DJI, but they're shut over the weekend. So on Monday, tomorrow, I'll be messaging DJI just to find out what the score is. Can you do this forevermore, or are you limited to 5 swaps, and then the last one that you have it with is locked and will be bound to that controller? If that's the case, that's rubbish. That's really, really bad, because it means that you're going to have to buy another another RCN1 or an RC. Now that's not good. It's okay for me because I've got them both, but it's not good for anyone who wants to just buy the Mini 3. Right. Ed says, you made me happy. I bought the Mini 2. I would have liked the screen on the remote, but not at twice the price. The screen on the remote is not all it's cracked up to be, Ed. There are some creators, I'm not going to call them out, even though I feel I should, that posted up early videos because they obviously got some stuff from DJI, and they were raving about this. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, how wonderful it is. Oh, it's so good. Nonsense. It's not. Okay, it's okay. It's a good controller. It's a nice controller, and if this one wasn't available, yeah, this would be okay. But this one's okay. This one will do the job. I tell you what I do like about this though. I do like the fact that it has a gimbal wheel and a zoom in wheel that are different, so you can. I used it today actually I used it yesterday on a range test. No, what was it? A battery flight test. And you'll see that I'll be posting it up on Friday. And I used these two controls at the same time. I was moving the gimbal and zooming in. And as you zoom in, you can be zooming in too high, so you can pitch the gimbal down and keep your zoom in level. That's really handy. On this one, you can't do it, because what you have to do is that will adjust your gimbal, obviously. Let me see. But if you want to zoom in, you have to hold down the function button and then use the wheel. So you can't do it at the same time. So that is a definite advantage that this has. I haven't customized either of these two yet, but I didn't do much customization in the controls on this one either. I customized the sticks, but I didn't, and I customized the yaw and the pitch. But I didn't do much customization, so I probably won't use these. And I think somebody said that they're in the way. They're not. They're well positioned. And here's another thing while I'm at it. A few people have been saying that the signal strength is bad because the antenna are in here, and these are covered up by your fingers. Rubbish. Your fingers are down here, right, or up here. They're not. They don't even get anywhere near in the way of the antennae. So the people that are telling you that don't know what they're talking about. Right, OneVision Aerial says the drone mask is great. They sent me one. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Just wait till summertime when the sun's out strong and warm and everybody's cracking up because their phones are dimming and they can't see them and blah blah blah. Us that have the drone mask will be out flying in that kind of weather. So kudos to you, OneVision Aerial. Right. Evening, Wes. How you doing? Right. Enid says, the thing I don't like about the controller is the two index finger buttons for video and photo. Oh, wrong one. Only one will work at once, so it's a waste of a button. Yeah, you might have a point there. I don't do much photography when I'm out there, to be honest with you. I just, basically when I launch, I have mine set to auto record as soon as it launches. So I don't even use these buttons. I don't switch them on or off. But if you're a photographer, yeah, that might cause problems, I suppose. I don't really know. Is it an issue? Yeah, that's two different buttons, two different functions in the one button, and that's two different buttons for two different functions. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Right, what else? Yeah, so those of you who watched the video I posted, I think it was today, the urban signal test. Both drones, the Mini 3 and the Mini 2, no matter whether they were paired with the RC or the RCN1, they got the same distance before the signal completely went, and that was 500 metres. Now, quite a number of you have stated something in the comments that I think is valid, and that is that my launch point, the home point, was about 20 metres lower than the area that she flew over. She had to go up a hill first and then fly. So it may be that in 500 metres she was kind of out of visual line of sight of the out of visual line of sight of the antenna, and that's why they both lost signal. That could be a point. Now, when I went out to do my urban signal test, that's not the location that I'd planned, and I had recce'd a different location that was really good, because it meant flying over a hospital, flying over a big supermarket, flying over a police station, and flying over some residential houses. And it was a fantastic area. But when I went out to do it, there were construction vans. They were digging up the side of the road, and they were laying in, I think it was electrical cables, and all the vans were parked up in the area that I had already recce'd, so I couldn't launch from there. And I was all the way out already, so I thought I'll just have to find an alternative. So that alternative I found may not have been ideal. I'm going to go back out again tomorrow, and I'm going to go to the original place that I recce'd, the original location, which was good. I had mapped it out, I'd planned it all, and I'm actually flying, not even down, I'm looking down on the area that I'll be flying over. So I may well go over 500 metres. And someone has also said that if you turn off the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, you get a longer signal range. So I'm going to test that as well. I'm a bit sceptical about that, but it's worth testing, that if you turn off the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, you may get further. So it'll be quite a few tests I do tomorrow. It'll be another urban signal test, but if this one, if it still cuts out at 500 metres, then that's basically confirming the other test, which is that DJI have put in some kind of 500 metre block here, certainly in an urban area. Not in the wilderness area, because I had no problems when I was out flying in the middle of nowhere. And the other thing I was going to say there was, can't remember, but it'll come back to me. Right. Oh, not very many questions here this week at all. Tommy, you're here at last. Hello, how you doing? I think I already said hello to you, Mike. Videk the farmer says, hey, your accent is awesome. Videk, I bet your accent is awesome as well. Right, Jason Pavri, hope I pronounced that right. Looking good there, sir. Saw a video where someone connected a Bluetooth mic to the USB-C under the cover of the RC and claimed to be recording voice over the screen recording. Any thoughts? In here, you mean? I'll take that down. You mean in here? So they plugged in a Bluetooth mic into here. I don't know. I was led to believe that this had no function yet. This was for future use and didn't have a function yet. It's possible. If I want to do narration, I wear a mic, a DJI mic that comes with the DJI Pocket 2, and that's what I do to record my narration anyway. I'd rather use that than something that I don't know how good it's going to be or not. Right, Stuart, Big Stu, bet they will charge a unlock fee. An unlock fee? Are you talking about an unlock fee to allow it to fly more than 500 metres in an urban area? It's possible. If they do, and it's going to be, 10, 20 euros, dollars, pounds, that's fairly reasonable. It's a bit cheap, and it's a bit, why should I have to pay that when, I bought the thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I understand. But listen, businesses are out to make as much money as they can. And if they can implement something like that, unlock it for a small fee, they'll do it. One of these things we have to live with. Right, you're 100% in the screen. It's cheap. I have the smart controller and they're miles apart. Stuck. You're not the only person that has said that. Apparently the Pro controller is a universe apart from this one, and it is cheap. I think they pushed this one out so that they could make the price of the Mini 3 Pro really high and call it Pro. No. I mean, I had no intention of getting this one. I kind of knew in advance what it was going to be. My intuition told me what it was going to be. And I knew because I already had this one with the Mini 2 that my best bet would have been to buy the Mini 3 Pro and a battery and then the Fly More pack. And then I could hook it up with this one. But the reason I got this one is because so that I could actually make videos and do live streams and tell you what I honestly think and show you before you go and spend your money on it. So, you know, I think I've got an obligation as a YouTuber who reviews drones to do that to my viewing audience, which you are my viewing audience. So I've got an obligation really to show you these things. So that's why I bought it. Didn't buy it because I wanted it. I bought it because of those reasons. Kevin says, strange they didn't release a similar control with the Mavic 3. Such an expensive drone, but comes only with the standard RCN1. Is that right enough? The Mavic 3 only comes with this? I thought it came with some big fancy dancy controller like that, but it was black. I could be wrong. I don't have a Mavic 3. Or was that one of the other packages that was more expensive? I don't really know. Right. Brian Doggett says there's a lot of creators just saying the right thing to please DJI. Brian, I've been trying to keep my cool over this, but since I've started doing the tests, and I have to reiterate, I've only carried out 3 so far: the signal test in the wilderness, the signal test in the urban environment, and a battery range test, which I haven't edited yet, and it'll be published on Friday. So I've only carried out 3 tests. But even after those 3 tests, it's obvious that a lot of creators are giving this far too much credit, and they're saying things that aren't. I can't say they're not true, because the creators will say that these are their opinions, and their opinions are as valid as anyone else's. Yes, they absolutely are. But Brian, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and it kind of annoys me slightly. Kim, thanks very much for the sub. Skip says, how difficult has it been getting videos off the Mini 3? Faster than the Mini 2, or just pop the SD card? Skip, I just pop the SD card. I do that with my DJI Mini 2, I do it with my FPV, I do it with the Mini 3, and I do it with my Pocket 2. Sometimes I connect my Pocket 2 up and just download it straight from the device, but more often or not, I just take the SD card. It's simple for me. I have tested the download speed direct from the device. I think I did it with the Mini 2. I haven't tried it with the Mini 3 yet because it overheats. It gets far too hot, right? So I haven't done that. But I tried it with this, and I timed it, and then I took the SD card out, put it into the computer, and uploaded it, and it was exactly the same to the second. It wasn't any faster doing it through there. So I just popped the SD cards. What was the second part of your question there? I don't know, I've lost it. Sorry. Right, Just Look says the reviewer you alluded to. Just Look, I alluded to nobody. Don't read anything into it. I am alluding to no other creator. The viewer you alluded to on the other video was doing long range tests on here when he had the Mini 2. As soon as it's monetized, his option, where did you go? I don't know, I've lost the end of your thing. Right. As soon as it's monetized, his opinion changed to he doesn't need to go further than 1,000 meters. I don't know who you're alluding to. I'm not alluding to anyone. I don't know what you mean, but everyone has read what you said. Kevin says brightness has no impact on how much you can see. It's all about the glare and reflectiveness of the sky above. Major issue I have. Most higher end phones have 1,000+ nits. Stand under a tree, lol. Kevin, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's what I just said. It's the glare. It's not the brightness doesn't matter. An iPhone 13 Pro, iPhone 13 Pro Plus or Plus Pro, whatever it is, has 1200 nits. I'll guarantee you, if you're out on a sunny day and the glare hits that phone, you'll be able to see it just as clearly as, or you won't be able to see it any more clearly than anything else. It's the glare. Doesn't matter how bright it is. And some of these YouTubers, oh, it's so bright, oh, it's so bright, it's blinding me, look at that. Doesn't matter. It's the glare. Right. Okay, enough of that. Ian says, I have the Mini 2, it's a fantastic drone, but I'm tempted to the 3 just because of the 48 pixel camera. It would be worth it. Ian, if you're a photographer, I'm not, so I don't know much about it, but if you're a photographer and the Mini 3 is going to give you much better results than you can get with the Mini 2, then go for it. Absolutely go for it. And the other thing is as well, if the Mini 3 is going to do anyone no better than the Mini 2, but you want it, then get it. I'm not here to tell you what to buy and what not to buy. Everyone's absolutely free to get whatever they want. I'm just going to give you my opinion on what I think about them. But yeah, absolutely, of course. And if it's going to give you better photos, go for it. Don't know much about that at all. Right. John says you can only use the RC with the Mini 3, Rob. Aye, I know. Yeah, I tried to hook this up, John, to the Mini 2. Can't do it. You can't do it. Oh, here's another thing. This is what I meant to say. Right, I remember now. I screwed up. I think I've screwed up. So anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I rarely updated the firmware on Lassie, my Mini 2, for the newer viewers who don't know that this is Lassie. On my Mini 2, I rarely updated the firmware. Unless, Kim, thanks for the sub. Unless there was a feature that was brought in with a new bit of firmware that I thought, oh, I don't have that yet and I really, really want that. That never happened. So I was always happy with the firmware. It did everything I needed it to do. So I really updated it. But when it came to connecting the Mini 3 with the RC-N1 to do the signal test that I did on yesterday, that I posted today, I couldn't connect it because the Mini 3 Pro was not available on the firmware that I had. So not only, I tried updating the firmware and that didn't work. What I had to do is I had to uninstall the DJI Fly app and then reinstall it and upload the latest firmware. And then the Mini 3 was available and I could connect it to this. But I think I now have all of the glitches and problems with the newer firmware in the Mini 2 that I didn't have before. And one of those may well be, if you notice that the Mini 2 footage from the video today, it seemed to be kind of wavy, and there was something strange going on with the camera. I mean, the gimbal wasn't moving, but everything seemed to be kind of a bit wavy. Did anyone else notice that, a kind of waviness in the DJI Mini 2 screen on the video today? If you didn't, go and have a look at it, please, and leave a comment on the video about it if you do notice that, and if you know what it might be that's causing it. But I think it's because I at last, and didn't want to, but had to update the firmware to the latest version just so that I could connect the Mini 3 up to the RC-N1. So I wish I didn't have to do that, but it was the only way that I could get the Mini 3 to connect. And I suspect that had I not done that, then the Mini 2 would have travelled much, much further than 500 metres in the urban test before losing signal. Because I did a test with this wee drone over a year ago. It was last March I did a test. And pretty much it was the same little town, but it was at the other end of the town. And I think she flew about 3 kilometres or 2 kilometres before the signal even, I lost the signal. So I think the firmware updates, I've slightly kiboshed myself, but it is what it is. William says, I wonder if in the future DJI could make the joysticks connect magnetically, because that would be less fiddly. It would be less fiddly, William, but just imagine that you accidentally just knocked one like that as you were turning round or something and it flew off into the long grass. Where would you be then? At least with it screwing in, you can't knock it off. So no, you keep your your magnetic sticks to yourself. All right. Good idea though. Good idea. Right. Jason, I don't know what that is alluding to. I don't know what you're saying there, but there it's up on the screen anyway. Right, oh God, I've got all these millions of messages. Okay, it's all right. We're 4 minutes past. It's supposed to be a half hour. Oh, there you are. It's supposed to be a half hour chat, but I can run on a little bit because as long as I stop it before 8 o'clock, we'll be fine. So let's try and get through some of these. Skip says you seem to be pretty rough with your drones. Any issue versus the Mini 2, the Mini 3 lacking the propeller gas storage thing? If you're talking to me, Skip, no, I don't use propeller guards, and I am a bit rough with these drones, but Lassie has proven over the past year and a half, she can take it, right? I don't know if Caledonia can take it or not yet. She still has to prove herself, but the Mini 2 can take a lot more rough handling than people give her credit for, right? Mark says, a fella in Australia posted a video about 3 years ago, open country, flew 4.5 kilometres and back. He must have the 47-minute battery then, Mark, because I could only get 2.5 kilometres before the battery was down to 50%. Well, 55%, I think it was, at 2.5 kilometres, and I wasn't pushing it beyond that. So if he went 4.5 kilometres, it must have been with the 47-minute battery, which we can't get here in the UK. Right, Richard Skyrunner says 2 buttons save you changing on the screen. Aye, that is handy. I'll give you that. That is handy, and it's something that they obviously didn't think of or didn't have room for. Did they? See, there's 2 empty bits here. They could have had something here, I suppose. But, you know, developers and engineers get better. They learn with their past incarnations. So, you know, they've obviously learned there. Nick says that he finds the photo button useful to refocus even when recording video. I haven't used it yet. As I say, I've only done 3. I've only been out and flown 3 times with Caledonia, my new Mini Pro 3. So I've got lots and lots to learn. But I'm concentrating just now on doing the initial comparison test that I think everybody's looking for, that are still considering whether they should upgrade to the Mini 3 Pro or not. So I haven't really had a lot of time to fly and learn much about the Mini 3 Pro. I will be once I've got a lot of the tests done. But I think it's important that I do initially do a lot of comparison tests just to let the viewers on my channel know what's what with both drones. Julie says, I have both controllers, but the old one is far better in signal than the new one. I think the output signal is stronger. We did some signal measuring. Julie, on my urban test, I think that the RCN1 did better, but a lot of people have pointed out that I was flying the Mini 2 about between maybe 50 and 100 metres higher, and I was, but that was because every time I tried to raise the Mini 3, I was getting spammed with wind warnings, so I had to take it up gradually. The output signal might be stronger, there might be testing, you might do it in paperwork, but out in the real world, testing is what counts in my opinion. Jim says there seems to be a problem with battery load. I don't know, Jim. I think that may be that DJI have just gone a little bit overboard on the sensitivity with the warnings. And I think that's maybe why I was getting spammed quite a lot with wind warnings, battery load warnings, because there may not have been a battery load issue. There may not have been as much of a wind problem, but the sensitivity caused the warnings to go off. That they may fix that in a firmware issue. If they may not, I don't know. Matt, you need to change your chat to live chat rather than top chat. How do I do that? Change it to there. Boom. Right. I've probably just lost everything now, but that might have fixed things. I don't know. Right, okay, thanks for that, Mark. Probably throwing me out all over the place, but yeah. Mark, you've just checked the DJI Shot. The Mini Pro is being sold without a controller. The specific says you can use the DJI RCN1 that you already own. Aye, you can. Yeah, I know that, Mark. I know that it says that. But I'm telling you that when I was out there switching between the two, each time you switch, you have to upload, install firmware that you have to have preloaded when you had a Wi-Fi connection. Because don't forget, you won't have a... Oh, you can still have Wi-Fi. You can download it when you're out if you want, but it's quicker to download it when you're out there. But you still have to upload the firmware. Every time you switch, you have to upload the firmware to the new drone. It only takes a minute, but you have to do it. And the other thing is, I did get that warning that said you can only do that 5 times, switch between them, and then it'll bind to one of them. And that's why I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to switch the RCN1 between these two until I have that particular warning message confirmed from DJI. What does it mean? Well, if I keep switching the two of them on the 5th switch, will it lock in, and that means that I'll be stuck. Supposing my 5th switch is that one, and this one gets bound to this controller, does that mean that I now can't fly my Mini 2? I need that confirmed from DJI. Excuse me. Before I do it anymore. So it's a bit dodgy, right? Okay. Oh, see, you've been chatting amongst yourselves here, and I'm kind of lost. But William has said, has anyone else been having a bad experience with the DJI Fly app with the Mini 2 after the update in the app? I found the frame rate when live viewing and connection is much worse. William, I wonder if that's maybe the issue that I'm having with the waviness, the thing looking all wavy on the Mini 2. Check the latest video I've uploaded and look at the Mini 2 screen. It's full screen at the beginning, and then you get a split screen at the end of the video, and you'll see that there's this kind of waviness. It's weird. Is that what you mean? And leave a comment on the video about that if you don't mind. Ed says, cause if the screen's at the bottom, it would be difficult to add a screen sun shield. Yes, I've got a hood, a sun shield. Doesn't really do much good, to be honest with you, because the glare can still get in there. So anyway, your mileage may vary. Camille says, can you video edit on the DJI Fly app with the new RC1 controller? Yeah, maybe, Camille, I don't know. I do my video editing on my computer using Final Cut Pro. You may be able to do that. I don't know. A lot of people don't have computers, I know. Hopefully someone will be able to give you an answer to that. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. Okay, let's see. We're out of time, 22, still got time left. Nick says he did his own range test yesterday in a rural area. Mini 2 got 4 kilometres and the Mini 3 got 3.2. Nick, were you using the 47-minute battery? Because as you saw in my initial wilderness test, in the rural area test, at 2.5 kilometres, I already had a low battery warning, and I was at 55%. So how are you getting to 4 kilometres? And that's on the Mini 2. How are you getting to 4 kilometres? On the Mini 2, 2.5 kilometres gives me a low battery warning. And as you saw, 2.5 kilometres, I turned around and brought her back, and I had to go out and get her. Maybe you did it when there was no wind whatsoever, possibly. Yorkshire Man, hi Robert, hi Yorkshire Man. I know you needed to buy the Mini 3 for reviews you do for your channel, but would you have bought it to replace the Mini 2? No, I would not. Excuse me, I've got an itchy nose. Oh dear. No, Yorkshire Man. With the features that were promoted and advertised for the Mini 3, I would not, if I did not have a YouTube channel that was based on reviewing drones and looking at drones, I would not have bought it. I'm absolutely, still perfectly happy with the Mini 2. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance and it doesn't have tracking, but if I want to track, I can use Maven or Litchi. Okay, I don't have obstacle avoidance, so it won't track me walking through trees and running about lampposts, but why would Why would I want to walk through trees and run about lampposts anyway? Having said that, one of the tests I'm going to be doing with the auto track and the obstacle avoidances is walking through trees. That'll be coming up in a week or two. But no, Yorkshire man, I'm absolutely happy with the Mini 2. She does everything that I want her to do. She still does it perfectly well. And had it not been for the fact that I've got a YouTube channel that about drones, I honestly would not have bought the Mini 3, especially not for the price. Crazy price. I mean, I blasted all that money and hoping to recoup a little bit of it over time, you know, with the adverts and things on Google. But it's going to take me about a year to recoup that. But there you go. Luke says it makes you wonder if they're going to start introducing problems to get people to update. That's a good point, Luke. Aye. Problems like that waviness that I seem to have now that I updated the firmware to the latest version. And if people start to get problems like that, signal dropouts, they may say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to get a Mini 3 Pro. Good point. Never thought of that. Conspiracy theory time, eh? Oh. Kevin says, when I pan around, it seems like it's flying in a fishbowl. Is that the Mini 3 you're talking about, Kevin? Seems like you're flying about in a fishbowl when you pan around. Maybe your yaw settings are too high. Make them smoother and slower, and you'll have a nice gentle pan. You might still feel like you're in a fishbowl, bloop, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I feel like I'm in a fishbowl most of the time in my life when I'm walking about anyway. Right, Pintsworth, I also had a gimbal glitch on my last flight with the Mini 2. I have gimbal glitches if there's high winds. If there's high winds, you do get a gimbal glitch. And also in sports mode, you'll quite often get a wee gimbal glitch. But I think that's always been the way of it with the Mini 2. I don't think that's anything new. Right, okay. Oh, that was a good one there. I saw it. I rolled past one there about rolling back that you can't roll back. That was a good one. I think it was that one. Peter says you cannot roll back ever again after downloading the latest version of the firmware. And that was another thing I was really annoyed about, because I didn't have the firmware. That allowed me to. I would have been able to install any FCC hacks or do any rollbacks or anything like that. But now I can't. And I knew when I was installing the new firmware that I'd be locking myself into it. But it was the only way I could get these to connect, because I didn't have this listed on the fly app the way it was. So sacrifice myself for you guys. Again, the least you could do is give me a wee thumbs up. If you want to tip me, you can tip me as well. So yeah, FCC mode stock, you can't use it now. If you're updated to the latest firmware, I believe you can't use it anymore. So I kind of sacrificed my ability to use that so that I could do the comparison test. There you go. Tom says, I think you can. There's a video online about it. Well, I'll certainly have a look for that. If you could, Tom, either PM me with the video link, or if you'd leave a comment in the latest video with that link, that would be interesting, not just for me, but for everyone who's watching. A lot of us probably like to know that. Christian Daywalker says, will you be running through the same tests as you did with Lassie? Race along the beach in different directions, how much can she lift? Yeah, Christian, I will be doing that. But first, I want to get the comparison tests in, because there are a lot of people still sitting now haven't bought this and maybe want to buy it, don't want to buy it, they're not sure yet. So I think it's important that I get the comparisons out of the way first before I get to the more fun tests, like how much can they lift and what other crazy stuff can Caledonia do. Right, 10-2, still get 10 minutes or so, right? Videos, please don't forget to do a return to home landing comparison. Yeah, I did notice your comment on, a couple of videos back where you asked for this, and I will do that. What I'll probably do it as a separate one. I will get to that one. I don't know if it's all that important, to be honest, because you don't need to RTH all the way back to the point and see if it's 10 10 centimetres more accurate than the DJI Mini 2, because as it comes in and gets close to you, you're better switching over to manual and then hand anyway, in my opinion. So it's not at the top of my priority list, but I'll keep it there. I'll keep it in mind. Will the FCC hack improve things? If you can still access the FCC hack, it may not. I don't know. If I can still access it, I'll try it out and see. I don't know if I can access it or not though. Anyway, Don B, thanks for all your videos, for your honesty and integrity. Much appreciated. Thumb up, thumb up, thumb up. Tom, thanks for the comment. All I can do is be as honest as I can be. That's what I'm all about in this channel. There's no point in me making things look, oh, how brilliant is this? How fantastic is this? Look at this. These are the best things since sliced bread. Oh, they're great, aren't they? DJI, can I get another free drone? No, not me, not me. Right, spent a fortune on this, so I'm going to tell you the truth. There's a lot of good things about this, a lot of good things. I'm not here to diss the Mini 3, absolutely not at all. From what I've seen so far in only 3 flights, it's a fantastic drone, really, really great drone, and it's a really, really good controller. I love them. Honestly, they're fantastic. I just don't think they're how much? They're £500-600 better than this combination. I don't. Your mileage may vary. Right. Would you say the Mini 2 is better in windy conditions than the Mini 3 border drone seekers? Is that Brian? No, I wouldn't. I would say they're both exactly the same. And I did a test of it, which I didn't include in. I tested exactly that in the very first flight I did, the rural test, and I put them both up at the same time, and I had them flying side by side, and they both moved exactly the same. And then I put them in this configuration, and they both moved exactly the same with the wind. So I may do a very, very short video, a minute long video of that, a little clip of that. They're both exactly the same. Not one is more resistant than the other. Although, aye. Well, having said that, let me caveat that slightly. On the way back from the rural test, Caledonia, the Mini 3 Pro, made it all the way back, and Lassie didn't. And the reason she didn't is because the wind was so strong, it was blowing her off course, and she couldn't actually, she didn't have the strength to get back because of the wind, and I had to go out and get her. But I don't think that means that the Mini 3 is any better in the wind. I just think that at the time Lassie was flying, the wind was a lot stronger and blew her over, because when I had the two of them up in this configuration with the wind blowing, they were both moving about in exactly the same manner. So I'll put that little 1 minute clip up maybe in Wednesday or something like that. Okay, hope that answered your question. Let's see if I can find someone who hasn't had their name up yet. Stevie, have you found any down points about the Mini 3 yet? Down points. The only down point I'd say so far, and let me, once again, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but let me say I've only had 3 flights. The only down point I can say so far is that the screen recording from the RC, it looks fine, the screen looks fine when you're flying, but for some reason the screen recording, when I put it up side by side with the Mini 2 screen recording, it looks horrible. I mean, it just doesn't look good at all. That could be user error. There's maybe something in the settings that I've got wrong, and I'll have a look into that. But that's the only downside so far, apart from the price, apart from the really, really big increase in price over the Mini 2. That's a downside as well. But no, I haven't found anything bad about it at all. Like, the signal strength is as good as the Mini 2 as far as I'm aware. So no. Okay, John, hi pal, how you doing? Right, what is it? Things are jumping about all over the place here. Right, there's an FCC hack for the DJI Fly. I've watched a few videos. It does seem to work. Yeah, That's right, but if you upgrade to the latest firmware, I don't think you can use it anymore. Right, this is one I want to say. Nick, just check the Mini 2 screen recording. 4033 kilometres reached. 4033 kilometres? No. Meters, maybe, meters. Okay, right. How did you reach over 4 kilometres? Never mind with the signal, with your battery. Is it FCC hacked? I mean, how are you getting 4 kilometres? Well, 8 kilometres really with your battery. I don't get that. I don't want to sound sceptical or anything, but stick the video up and let's see it. What I'm basically saying is put your money where your mouth is. Okay. Kevin saying don't buy the Mini 3 Pro. Save your money and buy a guitar. Kevin, I've already got multiple guitars. I don't need any more. In fact, I want to sell a couple of guitars. So if you're interested, PM me. All right, I need to sell a few guitars. Right, just a couple of minutes left. So Peter O'Neill, I haven't seen your name up here yet. So Peter O'Neill says, hi, I have never flown a drone. Would like to get one. What would you recommend? Peter, if you've never ever flown a drone before, there's my recommendation for you. The Mini 2, the DJI Mini 2, and that's the controller you get with it, okay? Get that, you'll absolutely love it, and you can pick them up for a reasonable price at the moment, okay? You don't need to go for this one just yet. This is going to cost you over £1,000 for this combination. You don't need it just yet. Get a DJI Mini 2, and I would also advise get the Fly More pack. It's going to cost you another 200 quid or so, but you get extra batteries, extra propellers, a charging port. It's worth it to get that too. So there you go, DJI Mini 2. That's the one you want. Phantom Stranger, the Mini 3 has longer arms and slightly bigger propellers, which should be better in windy conditions. You're right, it does have longer arms and slightly bigger propellers. It does. It would improve using the plus battery. Maybe, I don't know, but it doesn't improve the wind resistance. The wind resistance is no better than the Mini 2, and I'll put up a video on. I'll try to get it on Wednesday. Can't promise though. Just to show the two of them in the air, side by side, and then one on top of the other in the wind, and you'll see for yourself. Right, RC screen recording is, oh Nick, is that right? 736 by 480. That's terrible. Is there any way to change that? Oh, that's another reason not to go for this then. Well, that's not true. If you are a YouTuber or any social media person and you put the recordings up, then that's going to be absolutely terrible. Oh my, didn't realise that. Is there any way to change that? That's rubbish. No wonder it looks so bad when I put it up then. I'll have to try and do something like that. Jim thanks me again for my honesty. Totally unbiased. Cheers, Jim. Right, what about a used Air 2? Your problem with the Air 2 is that it's over 250 grams. You may be restricted in where you can fly it, whereas you're not restricting where you can fly this. Depends on what country you live in and depends on your country's restrictions. So bear that in mind before you buy one. So there you go. Mark says definitely the Mini 2. I would say so. Right. I'm going to finish up in a minute or two. Here's Watershed Overlook has said, just realised this was happening, so my notification was for 7 PM your time. Of course it was. I'm not going to say 7 o'clock in your time. I don't know where you are. 7 PM my time. All right, just start over and repeat everything. Well, okay, right, let's go back to the beginning. No, you can watch it, you can catch up in the reruns, okay, and the chat will all be there. I've double backed up the chat on the screen and it'll be on the normal thingy anyway. Just be on time next week, 7 o'clock my time, okay? Right. Mini 3 Pro's wind resistance might not seem better, but maybe less stress than the motors under battery use. Maybe, it's possible, quite possible. I don't know, it's possible. All I know is that they both react the same in the wind. Ed says it's a low-res screen, not really much progress, and it's terrible. Having learned that now, I'm inclined. if not for having this YouTube channel where I'm obliged to test this, I feel I'm obliged for you to test it. I would send it back. I would absolutely send it back and just use this one with a phone attached or an iPad, a big iPad attached to it. You know what I mean? Right, Rich and Newlove, shout out for Steve Willow. Oi, oi. Don't know who Steve Willow is. There you go. But there's your shout out, Rich and Newlove. Give me a thumbs up or a tip for that. Go and drop $1 into my tip jar. Right, Andy Earshot, it's not nice to see you're impartial. People I have seen being as honest as you in the past have now sold their souls to DJ for free. If you're doing, no, I'm not doing it. I will never do it. And Ian in London said the same. He wouldn't do it, and I'm sticking with Ian's opinion. I'm not doing it. I wouldn't do it. I don't care if they said, we'll give you a Mavic 3 plus all the goodies for nothing if you say it's wonderful. Like, no, give me a Mavic 3 and I'll tell my viewers what I think of it. I'll tell them the honest truth. But yeah, they're not interested in that, I don't think. Oh, I just mentioned Ian in London, and here is somebody else. Tam says, Ian in London pointed out about the gimbal sticking out too far. What do you think? Nah, it doesn't. It does stick out. Right, there you go. Don't know if you can see that. So it does stick out a little bit, but you know, it's not a problem. It's not an issue unless you crash it into the ground. And if you crash it into the ground, you shouldn't have had that many whiskies before you went out. Right, okay. Alison and Brittany, flying from France. Okay, well done. Right, last thing I'm going to say, because I have to go now, is what kind of charger should I use to charge the batteries for Mini Terminal? I just use the standard charger that comes in. I plug it into a USB-C. It takes a long time, but I plug them in overnight, and by the morning they're fully charged. Right, folks, I've got to go because I don't want to clash with Drone Seekers International. Thanks very much for watching. Tune in again next Sunday at 7 PM my time. I'll see you then. Cheerio the new.
Get out of my way.
You're always so angry.
Caledonia, get back here.
Get out of my way.
You're always so angry.
Caledonia, get back here.